always a radiographer or the button pusher, as many of them were saying. Doing that, I became a lead radiographer in the first 6 months, and that has gave me courage, that has gave me confidence that I'm doing something right.
Our senior departmental manager, if you went into her office, hanging on the back of her door was an ironed tunic, ready, if everything went sideways, she would put that on and come down and help you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Skilled Personnel Podcast. My name is Foddy Kyriakos.
I'm Baruch Vidian, everyone knows me as Boz.
And I'm Alexandros Leontaritis.
Thanks ever so much, Alex, and thanks, Boz. I'm super excited about this. This is our first CrossRoADS podcast episode, and delighted to welcome you, Alexandros. Would you like us to call you Alex for this?
Yeah, I think it's easier to pronounce, so.
We're all three of us are people with names that no one else can pronounce. It's great. I love it.
What a perfect way to start.
Yeah.
Well, as people know, I have an identity crisis myself, Foddy. I answer to both. I answer to other things, to be fair, as well. Absolutely delighted to be starting this CrossRoADS podcast with you, Alex. What I thought would be really useful is for us to start right at the beginning and find out a little bit more about your origins, how where you started in life, and perhaps talk through how you found your way into the wild, wacky world of radiography.
That sounds good. That sounds very good. Thank you very much, everyone, for inviting me on this first episode of CrossRoADS. First of all, born and raised in Greece, as you understand from my accent. So yeah, born and raised in Greece. I studied in Greece, but not as a radiographer. To be honest, the radiography wasn't my first choice. When I started thinking about my career, it was about IT. So I joined the college. I graduated as an IT with bachelor, and I went out to the market. And it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, to be honest. It was a bit harder, especially on the transition. In Greece, the technology was not actually following the time as it's running. So it was a bit tough. And after a couple of years, I found out that my mom, she was, very related with radiology because she was in the hospital environment. So I went there, I saw it, and I said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." I like photography as a side view. So I said, "Why not? Let's see the other side of photography." So I got a bit affected about that. So I started my college to become a radiographer, and that was a very, very interesting years of my life, to be honest. I'm a bit of obsessed about physics and maths, so all that, was adding up together. And as I had my IT background, everything was running towards the digital era of radiography. So it was some sort connected. And when I started as a radiographer, I went in the hospital, excited on the first day. I would start to become, just a radiographer, not as a trainee anymore. I'm a radiographer. I've got responsibilities on the hand. So I went there, and I felt completely different. I felt like, oh, okay, we have X-rays and we have a CT and MRI. The MRI was the luxury part of the hospital that time. So just plain X-rays and CT, and I was like, oh, okay, and what's next? Excited, like, what's the next step? And apparently, on that type of countries that the technology is not following how it's running, it felt very difficult. So I went into the work for a good 4 years, and I felt that I didn't have any development. I didn't have any progression. I was always a radiographer or the button pusher, as many of them were saying. And I could see people, they were like 20, 25 years in the industry, and I couldn't see any progress in their career, except obviously the salary was different. But apart that, it was like a one way. So one night, on that time, I was doing mobile X-rays with a portable X-ray system to houses. So on that time we were using CR cassettes, so the equipment was load like 80, 90 kilos. And I remember it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the night, sixth floor without the lift. And I'm going over there, I'm around fourth floor, and I'm cursing my life that why I've become a radiographer. I could be anything else in the world, working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and without a need of doing that. And I had literally, I was very, very emotional. So I went back. On that time, I was married for 1 year, and I said to my wife, like, we need to see another pathway in our life. She was a radiographer, so that helped a bit on the decision, and we will start looking for other countries in Europe. And Norway was the first target, but then we decided to go in London, obviously for the language. Um, just the brackets there that when I arrived in London, I didn't have any clue about English. I knew a couple of words, like how I can go back home, and
What
what's
year
my
was
name.
this, Alex?
So that was
What year was
that
this?
was 2015. That was
Okay.
2015. So October 2015, I arrived in England, and yeah, I went the first month. I went to the first hospital, and I said, I want to join your team. And they said, yeah, you need some accreditations, you need some certificates, you need HCPC. And I was like, HCPC, what's that? Where's that coming from? Like, I'm pretty sure I've got the skills. I'm trained radiographer. I've done it 4 years. Come on, what's the borders there? And apparently, I figured out after a bit of a 5 minute search in Google that radiographers in England they need HCPC, and that took a bit because I was not expecting that. I had
So
um,
is there no central registration in Greece for
n-
radiographers?
no, no, no. When you graduate, you can work.
Okay.
You don't need any specific accreditation. It's your choice if you want to join like the let's say the Society of Radiographers in Greece. But apart that, you don't have any restriction or limitation, to join any industry. So when I came here was a bit of a horse, especially with HCPC. My English, as we said, was very very limited. So going through these 45 pages of accreditation, it was painful. And after 18 months, I managed to get my HCPC.
Wow.
And
That's a long
that
time.
that was a long time. And trust me, I went through different kind of jobs, let's say, to survive in London. With a new
I can
new
imagine.
married. Yeah, yeah, it was. So it was a bit harsh there. But I joined instantly, almost instantly, like after a week. I had my HCPC registration. I joined a company, a private company in London, become a radiographer. So I started again from scratch. I was already trained in plain film fluoroscopy, C-arms, and CT. So I had some foundations in the background, but I started as a plain film because that's how they start here. So, and I found it very, very approaching, the style of, even whatever experience you have, you need to start from the scratch in order to see what is the law, what's the legislation behind it, how the whole industry is running, and different views, different exposure factors, different approaches, and different patient pathways. So all of that was a very interesting process for me, and I found that I start building myself as more senior radiographer, even if I had 4 years back in Greece. And as I was doing that, I became a lead radiographer in the first 6 months, and that has gave me courage. That has gave me confidence that I'm doing something right. That 4 years that the past is actually giving me something, and that has given me the power to start looking around it. And when I figure out it was that it was missing a bit the compassionate from the managers towards the radiographers. And I still felt it in this country that some people believe that radiographers, is just a profession, but radiographers is a completely different career pathway. Is you can become anything you want in the radiography industry, and that is something amazing. That is actually people that they want to grind in the actual industry. They have the possibilities. They have the tools to do it, and that's how after a year I joined my first NHS trust. That was around 2018,
Mhm.
and then I've seen that leadership was lacking a bit, especially on as Fodit has mentioned before about Philotimo, and Philotimo is something that is not part in this country. It's I think it's made in Greece. It's only in Greek. No, none of the languages can translate it.
Yeah,
That's
go on.
actually uh,
How would you translate it if you could?
Philotimo is meant when when a person is actually appreciating what what you do. But then the same appreciation is not giving up to you. It's just it's giving you your hand to actually support you on this. So it's some kind of support both ways.
Yeah.
And and you do that because not because you need to. It's because you're feeling it. And that's the difference.
So it's job satisfaction, but also job satisfaction the other way. The
Exactly.
support of your job satisfaction.
Exactly. It's like how your job can actually support you of supporting your job. It's
Yeah.
like you want to provide your maximum work here. We all go to work 9 to 5 because we want to give something back to the community in either way, or either patient or either staff.
Mhm.
Because what I find out, we are very good on patient care, but we are lacking a bit of a staff care. But when you have a happy
So,
person, when you have a happy employee, then you have a happy patient.
Yeah.
So then again, everything that I followed afterwards was on leadership roles because I wanted to see that embracing others so they can provide most without actually putting any pressure on it, without putting the mentality of what, I'm the manager, I will tell you what to do. No, no, we are the same. I've got that position for some reason, but then from the other hand, I'm there to help you as a mentor or as your colleague to go forward.
mhm.
And it's nice to see people progressing. And that was what it was missing when I joined the trusts. And I figured out that in order for this, if you want to change it, you need a better better approach. So I focused towards leadership. That's why I am now hopefully leading a very successful department in Southwest London, and I do believe that I have the right mentors around me, so they can give me the foundation to go forward on this.
Yeah. There's a there's a lot to unravel there. I mean, it's an incredible path you've taken, Alex. I mean, was it'd be interesting to know where to begin. But what's interesting, firstly for me, Alex, is your crossroads came in your previous career. So you were looking at IT, and then
Hmm.
you decided at that stage something, whatever it was missing, and you found your route into radiography. I find that really interesting, and we could maybe talk a little bit about the experience you've had in your interest and passion for IT that you've taken on into your radiography career. I think the other thing, just from my perspective, is you've you raised the point about Philodimon. Now you've moved into a leadership role now, so you're a superintendent now. Is that actually the what's your job title now, Alex?
Yeah, my job title is General Superintendent Radiographer in radiology in St. George's.
So forgive me for embarrassing you, but you would be the type of manager that I would want to work for. Because your desire to see other people succeed, what you've recognized is what um, what an impact it has on you. And we all remember,
Hmm.
and I'd love to get both your thoughts on this actually. We all remember someone in our careers at the early stage of our careers that we look at as that role model, that person that we looked up to. We can all think of them.
Hmm.
You know, we don't need to name and shame them here, and although you should, because we should champion and cheerlead them. But actually, what was you know, we all can think of that person that we looked up to in the profession, and you know, it's not an ego thing, a million miles away from an ego thing. You know, it's actually that ability to be able to know that you're having just that little bit of a positive impact in someone's career.
Yeah, 100%. I think what Alex, what your type of management is, I would put under the proper leadership,
Hmm.
which I think is a really, really good thing to have, to know that you're, yeah, you're in your position, but your title, your banding, it's irrelevant. You are in a position where you can help and
Hmm.
empower others to build themselves as well. Talking what Foddy just mentioned, I had in my first job, our senior departmental manager, she's qualified radiographer, had been, but she was band 8B or C. No, hadn't been clinical for years. But if you went into her office, hanging on the back of her door was an ironed tunic, ready that if, if everything went sideways, she would put that on and come down and help you. And
Hmm.
just knowing that made you want to work better because and want to, do well for her and her department. We never saw her clinical,
Hmm.
but the fact that she still thought of herself as a radiographer and not a manager.
Hmm.
Obviously, she thought of herself as a manager, but she still identified with the staff.
Hmm.
That makes a massive difference to your team and the people you're working with.
Yeah, I think, as you said, that's very important. I'm still wearing my tunic. I'm still make sure that, we are there, as you said, that we are located on this position, so we need to be there. We need to be there to support. And even if we don't want it, other people they see you as a role model. You are different banding. For them, it's something. For
Yeah,
some other people, it's very important. But to be honest, as you said, a good manager is not to put any restriction between banding. We are all graduated as radiographers. We need to respect the profession itself, not about ourselves. So from that point on over, it's just only to support others to become better radiographers. And it's nice to see it because you know that person from when they join. So you have arranged the first training matrix to go for, how you can motivate him, how you can bring him to the next step. And
Yeah.
I constantly had like a question from a radiographer saying, "Oh, I have to do a master for something not irrelevant, but not so relevant on that time what they were doing." But you're not gonna reject that. That's what they want. That's what they are dreaming about it. That's their vision about themselves. So instead
Yeah.
of blocking them, just open the doors and try to support them. I'm pretty sure we can absorb, 1 day to work as a clinical. Yes, we can do it.
yeah,
If that person needs to go for university. And I think that's the mentality that we need to change in many, many areas. Obviously, we're not going to name it, but as we all understand, the leadership is lacking up to a point. But I think it's getting better because awareness is better.
What, Alex, what I was going to ask you is taking you back to that point when you come over. So it was clear in many ways that although you had your passion for radiography, because you wouldn't have waited 18 months, you would have just changed professions otherwise. Um, but
Yeah.
actually, isn't it interesting that um, people would assume that you might look into how to become a radiographer. But you know, it's very, very important that you raise this point that you didn't, because actually not everyone does. And I've spoken with people that have come over that wanted. This is, I'm going back 15 plus years. They came over they wanted to locum here and they didn't
Hmm.
realise to register with the HCPC. So they had a 2-year working holiday visa, and 6 months of it was practically taken up trying to find to get their HCPC. And some of them did, and others gave up. They just went, "Well, I'd just go travelling and go back and work when I got back." So, you know, I think what you're raising here is an interesting point. Again, just thinking about the word awareness, um, and how we could potentially recognize those that are in similar situations. I guarantee you weren't the first and you won't be the last, right? So perhaps there's something
Yeah.
in that as to try and work out perhaps a certain workshop around people that want to come to the UK. I mean, you don't the HCPC now. If you can, it's not only an awareness of it; it's understanding what the requirements are for it in advance, so that you can prepare yourself accordingly.
Hmm.
Just maybe what was your learning process other than thinking when you got here and know that you had to go through the
Yeah.
process.
So, what I will tell you what I have tried to change, because all the other, is irrelevant. Everyone is feeling it. HCPC has done an amazing job digitalize everything now, so the process is much easier. And again, it falls under to awareness, and that's what I think we are in an era at the moment that we are having people coming from abroad to support the industry. So, and that's a fact, we all know that, and it's not something that we need to hide. It's just to raise it. That awareness in universities is giving actually the chance for the radiographers or the new radiographers, or rather to consider themselves to go abroad for another career. And also, what are the options and the possibilities of how they can develop themselves and where they want to go. So actually provide them again, it's providing them the tools of you can do this. And if one has done it, everyone can do it. It's just a right information on the right people and the right time, and everything should come easier for them.
Yeah.
But I think, first of all, the university needs to be aware about this is an option for them. Do not block them, and it's not something easy because Erasmus programs, the majority of them, they have been already closed down, or people they don't found it anymore, especially
Yeah.
post COVID. Um, so this was a bit of a, let's say, pathway of connection, and like trying to go to other countries and see how the setup is there. So now we don't have this, so this information is gone. So either from social media or either with physical, people going there to educate university, or having like education evenings or something like this, definitely will improve this process for people or individuals.
I think the HCPC can have an opportunity there as well to show when they're, I imagine trusts and things when they're going over to different countries to recruit,
Hmm.
take someone from the HCPC and kind of go, yes, there's jobs, but before you take this leap, just know that there's this process you need to go through to register as an HCPC professional. I think that would be useful for people coming from abroad as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do believe that. I do believe that, and that was my problem at least that was my issue when I faced it when I arrived in England. And 18 months, trust me, it was enough.
Yeah.
It was too
Yeah.
much.
Now, I find this, and absolutely everything that I've heard is that things have improved somewhat in terms of registering. But I do agree. And if you think about the role of a practice educator, and I spoke to one who is a therapy radiographer, but she's now a practice educator. And what's interesting is that she's because of the new requirements on CPD for HCPC, she's now taken it upon herself to become the champion of that new information for her team. But I know that she's done that largely off her own back, and there's a lot of, I mean, Alex, I suppose one of the big things is it's not just now um, radiographers coming into for the UK that need to be aware of HCPC requirements for registration, it should be actually also not given as granted that everyone who is a radiographer understands what's required of them for their registration. Because if you know, if you get called up for your spot audit, you need to ensure that you've got everything in place, right? So, you know, you as a sort of manager, is that something that you're having to look at now as well as in your leadership position?
So at the moment, I'm having a different record. So I'll make sure that because I'm receiving a massive load about new band fives or people that just graduate from university. I'm talking with the majority of the Southwest University in London, and we liaise with them to see what are the levels and what type of training they're going under. So at the moment, we have structured a very good CPD, development in the department. So we make sure that everyone is attending CPDs. We are motivating people, to involve them in different procedures and different CPD procedures. We have, people going with barium swallows procedure. We have some colon cases with CT. We have reporting radiographers. So we are braced. We're trying always to push the senior management to get further funds to support all of that with a very good success. And I think that's because we have already structured a very good team on that. And and I do believe, that has made a difference that the whole senior management, let's say, we're all in the same page and we have seen what's the next step. We have an amazing retention of staff. We don't have any agency, so that's kudos to us. And we do have 180 staff members, so it's going very well. So something is going well there.
Definitely. I can imagine a common denominator.
When you I say transitioned. So when you first got your HCPC registration, you said you went to a private
hmm
company. Was that cross-sectional imaging?
No, no, no. It was cross-sectional imaging. It was unusual cross-sectional imaging for me. So it was a cone beam CT.
Okay.
So it was like more about dental and max fax
Yeah.
setup. But then, obviously, because I was a bit more interested about the machine, and again, I had the motivation of I'm learning new stuff, so I want to go a bit forward. So I transitioned that machine with different other procedures. I write down my first paper on UKIO. So that was a bit of a boost that I managed to, in the first year that I was there, managed to write a paper in English. That was a massive bank. And managed to have it there with my poster. So I was, very, very happy and very satisfied about myself. And then I went to another company. Sorry, I went to NHS again, dental max fax. So different setup. Again, I have transitioned from the average CT and MR, and then I've been to, let's say, my first leadership role. I was as a head of imaging and head of radiology in that time on a private company. So that was again different setup. I was running two different sites and some mobile applications like MRI and CTs, and plus I was doing the scans clinically in the company. So it was a bit of a mixed role.
So when you were kind of going from that employee to more senior
hmm
role, how did you prepare for that? Was that a planned thing? You wanted to climb rather than go sideways into different specialties? Was that a
Hmm.
thought process for you?
So that's a good point. So from the NHS, that was my bittersweet, let's say, experience in NHS. Obviously, we would not name it, but it was a bit of a different environment, I would say, and an unpleasant environment. So I wanted to change it, and I wanted to
Okay.
change not on specific trust, but I could recognize that it was around me like that. So I said, for me, what I need to do? in order for me to do some changes, I need to go higher.
Yeah.
So I pointed myself to go higher. So I sat down, I learned about policies, about legislation, about the system, about the industry. So I sat down and studied a lot before I, considered myself going for a higher role. And that
Right.
higher role came up, and I had already, some sort of leadership roles from the past, but more junior. And then I had the opportunity, so I went there, and I have seen there that I had the space to develop myself to a better leadership material. So I sat down there, again study. I ran the industry nice. I had some very positive results. I have developed the company to a better step when from what I have found when I arrived. So that was a positive. I have managed to mentor a couple of people, and that has actually paid off my efforts for them. And then, when the opportunity came out on NHS, I said, "That's my opportunity. That's my opportunity to give back what I received during my time as a radiographer in Greece and here, and how we can change it." And honestly, I have rejected three other jobs on the same timeline when I had the last job, and that was because clearly I was evaluating my managers. I was evaluating them where they are, about what I will expect from them, how they can support me, supporting the department. And I am there where I am, and honestly, for me, every day is a payoff of the effort that I gave to myself, pushing myself, reaching that point that I can help others, and you getting back on that every day. And for me, that's what I need. I don't need further than that. Uh,
No, I think that's for job satisfaction. That's one of the things I enjoy of my role. I'm a reporting radiographer and clinical team lead when I've got my clinical days because I love my clinical days. But the fact that it's a lot of work going and specializing, doing postgraduate courses and things like that. But the fact that you're able to then pass on that knowledge and inspire others to kind of go, oh yeah, I quite like sitting with Boz while he's reporting. Maybe I'll look at reporting.
hmm
I know the same thing happened with some of my other specialties. People have gone and they have seen someone or are gone to a specialty and asked the question, and that person's enthusiasm for their job drives someone else to kind of go, oh, I want to take a step up or a step sideways, and I
hmm
think that attitude is brilliant. And as you said, your staff retention, I think, is the proof of that.
hmm
You're pushing your staff because you've pushed yourself.
Yes, exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
I think it's. Do you think, um, had you been in an, you said your senior management have been are all pretty much on the same page as you.
hmm
How I think you're quite lucky in that. How do you, is someone in your, like the step before you who's thinking of, I think something needs to change. I think I'm the right person to do that change.
hmm
But they look up the ladder and
hmm
see people who are not forward thinking, don't want to change things.
hmm
How do you think you would face that?
Usually, I'm a round approach, so I will definitely, need further information on that of where they think they're going wrong, or where they think, that they are not thinking right, or on the same thinking that it can develop the department in a better state. Uh, if that's true, then I will definitely support it, even if we had the best run with their senior management. And that's true. It's about how to unlock the potential for your department. And in order to unlock the potential of the department, that means that your staff need that. So it's going to be better for the staff. And if that's the result of the staff being better because, our senior director, for example, is not hearing us or is not following us, then, we will need to give, the attention of that. Look, like a different approach with all the senior management there towards that person, like speak to them openly that show the results, show what's the good for the department. But you need to have a justification. You are reporting a radiographer. I'm training reporting a radiographer now. So justification is everything.
Yep.
So if you have the right justification there, I think you can always prove someone wrong.
Mm.
And I think that's how you're going forward. And obviously, we are not always on the same page. But with the right justification,
Yeah.
you're providing the truth. That's the truth. You have it on your hands. Nothing can go wrong. That's in front of you. So it's just giving them basically to understand your view, your vision, or them view, or whoever vision has brought it to you. Because sometimes trust me, band fives they have amazing ideas. Sometimes
Yeah.
not.
Sometimes everyone has bad ideas.
Exactly. So
But before Foddy comes, I'm sure he's got loads more questions. You just mentioned that you're training to be a reporting radiographer.
yes.
Yeah, Foddy, this is not about you anymore.
Uh,
I don't you. I don't you.
How so you're CT trained, cone CT trained,
I'm a
MR,
CT, MRI,
MRI
CT,
trained.
fluoroscopy.
Right. So okay, so what two things. Why have you now going towards the reporting side of things?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing MSK or
I'm doing
just
MSK. I start
MSK?
MSK. Yes.
So what made you choose that? But also, how do you keep yourself motivated to keep? So when you were looking into your leadership roles, you said you studied policy and things like that. You didn't know that leadership role was going to come up.
No.
You got your first leadership role, you've then gone and done more study on that, not knowing that you'd be in the position you are now.
Exactly.
How do you motivate yourself to do those things? So with the reporting, it's a course. At the end of the course, you'll be qualified,
Mm-hmm.
and I imagine there's a job role
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people that don't know, like in your first leadership position, you didn't know that was coming. So what was the motivation and how do you keep yourself motivated, pushing yourself like that?
Yeah. So the pushing myself is about what visions you have. So don't forget, I'm coming from another country. So for me, that was already a limitation of my aspiration in the country. Yeah. When you're coming in a new country, 27, you don't expect in the 30s to have a house. So I put everything down, and my motivation basically is about how can I become a better person and better material on my profession. Because if you become better in your profession, um, it's actually giving me the tools maybe later in my life to leave this country, work remotely for something, and be able, to live in my country with whatever money coming on. But that's a very far, dream that we never if we're gonna achieve it or not. But from the other hand, it's about, as I said earlier, I'm from the people that I cannot stay still. So I always want to do something. So when I achieve something, I want to go, okay, from where, what do we do? What's the next step? And when I heard that in radiography in England, you can actually, we have clinical directors. We have, as you said, clinical lead yourself. I mean, we have advanced practitioners. We have consultant radiographers. And I'm like, okay, I want to become one of them. I want to reach that point. I want to see how far can I go with my tools. And that's exactly what is driving me every day. So I got the leadership role completely accidentally, you said. I never knew that this position will come up. But I had applied for my reporting course as well. So that was a bit of a class there. So taking the department, first month I started my postgraduate. Trust me, not an easy process at all. But I really enjoying it, to be honest. Everything has gone, positive until now. I
Let's
still
get to
have
it.
to do my OSIS on January, but you know, I'm still having the support I want to. Like I've got staff members coming to me because they know that I'm doing my postgraduate, and they are like, "Are you right? How are you coping?" Like you can see an empathy coming from the department that is actually, "Oh mate, you've done bad," you know. You're going through rough stuff, but yeah, it's nice. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's myself not to stay still. I don't like that. I always want to progress, and I always want to do stuff and going forward. And I found this new hobby, or no hobby, obviously, helping other and getting back this appreciation, even if it's silent appreciation. But it is something that I'm feeling it. So having that in my job role and having to interact with all these people every day has actually given me so much, pleasure of doing that every day and how we can progress so we can motivate the other person. Like having, last year I have three band five radiographers first time in conference in UK. Oh, they were so happy. Honestly, that's what I want to take. They smile when they arrive there and say, "Wow." For them was like a very big event. Obviously for us was our network bit in near the summer. But but for them was something, especially when they can present their work or. But so all of that is actually giving me the motivation to go forward.
Definitely, definitely. One story comes to mind when I hear what you're talking about now, both of you. So when I embarked on setting up rig reporting, I went around practically every trust in the whole country just to understand different stories on how they integrated. Some trusts that managed to embed it pretty quickly, and others that were finding uh, barriers and challenges. And one particular manager who is a pioneer of radiography reporting, make no mistake. She said to me, so I said to her, how did you manage to drive and push radiography reporting to such a level in your department where it's now day-to-day practice? And she said, it wasn't easy, but I put my business case together. I showed what is not happening as a result of this. And when there was resistance, I said to them, I'm doing this unless you get unless you give me a good reason why we shouldn't. And clearly, she must have had the support and manage of backing of the department to be able to do that. But actually, it needed that level of approach, and she said to get it embedded. So, um, what comes to my mind, Alex, as you speak and now you're in your leadership roles, do you potentially need a little bit of the um, naughty school kid approach sometimes to just get a little bit told off when because if you feel something's right and then what you're perhaps if you're finding resistance somewhere but it's the right thing, do you sometimes need to get told off a little bit? I'm talking within the boundaries of and the context of what's right and ethical and within a process and stuff, but um I just feel sometimes to just play nodding dog, excuse me, nodding dog can be some of the challenges that we face in leadership now, where you get backed into a corner and you perhaps need to be that little, just have that little, uh, the other one on your shoulder going, yeah, you know what I'm saying. That
Um, yeah, I will say that if you're not a good leader, let's say on the department, you will not argue with your seniors. Like you need to argue with your seniors. You need to push the boundaries sometimes because that's your vision. Yeah, it's exactly what we said earlier. So I can definitely tell you, I'm sometimes I'm going through the boundaries, and I can take it back, and that's the thing. You need to take it back if you're going for it, and. But yeah, I can definitely tell you, I have to, many times I had to go hard on wording, on sometimes, on actions that, You know, oh, I don't have machine. Yeah, I don't have machine, so I can't do anything, is it? It's like if I don't have an X-ray machine, I don't have an X-ray machine. You need to push the boundaries, I think, and on many things to achieve stuff. But obviously on a professional manner, and do not exceed. You know, do not go too personal. We're all professionals, and we need to support the profession. So. So for us, you know, our duty is to be where we need to be as radiographers. And after that, the leadership roles, they need to take more initiative of actually, you know, let's change that because we can change that. But we need numbers. Definitely not one person can change it. But all together, we can change it. We are going forward as radiographers. We are progressing as radiographers. More doors opening every day. We're having more specialized radiographers going around the multidisciplinary teams, and that's great. That's what we need is recognition of our profession. 10 years ago,
100%.
we're just in button pushers, but
Yeah.
obviously now we are different, isn't it? We need to embrace that, and we need to go forward with this.
I
What?
think that's what
Sorry,
the
Buzz.
main aim of doing this with that Foddy's putting all this together with the skilled personnel network and things like that. That we have a voice, and there's a lot of us
Mhm,
who are, as you said, pushing boundaries, but the right boundaries, and
mhm.
pushing our practice into specializations and new roles that weren't thought of or people didn't think were possible for radiographers 10 years ago. And
Mhm.
I think that's what this is about for Foddy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, interesting, I'm sure many radiographers will know the statistics, but as part of my research behind putting the service together, I started to try to understand, get an indication of numbers. So, we have approximately 38,000 registered HCPC radiographers. So, okay, not all of them will be either practicing or in the UK even, but still there's a number to start with. We have approximately 150,000 radiographers or radiology technicians in Europe, and we have somewhere in the region of 500,000 to 600,000 radiographers globally. So you can look at that in two ways. You can either say in the grand context of 7 point something billion people in the world, that's not a lot of people, or if you actually bring it together as one community to start uh, understanding how radiography functions and works, and the practice of it within each country, and bring that together, all of a sudden, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of professionals working in radiography. And you're absolutely right. We should try to establish a way and a means of bringing that all together to explain
Mhm.
what you see, what we see in the UK as now accepted practice of advanced practitioners, reporting radiographers, enhanced practice, consultant practitioners, that anywhere else in the world it's like, what do you mean you report, what do you mean you do advanced procedures, in other sort of areas, other scopes that you just wouldn't even be dreamt of in those countries, right? It's
Yeah,
there's a lot
exactly.
to unravel there, but I mean that's to try and understand that we are greater than the sum of our means, and actually, if you bring all that together to develop support mechanisms, and Alex, the passion that oozes out from you and from Boz around this particular subject is so clear. But one of the things I want to say to you is that for you to for you to say to people, I'm sure you do when you speak to other people that are in similar positions to yourself, and finding it perhaps challenging to say something of what is the status quo, is to actually tell them it's okay to push back. It's okay to challenge the status quo, and part of the platform, but part of also being able to raise the voice is to have different types of support mechanisms, whether it's mentoring. It'd be
Yeah.
good to understand from your perspective what you feel maybe not necessarily it's missing, but we could actually add and develop that would be an immediate benefit to the profession?
So what I will say is recognizing people is the most. So you know, understanding the needs of your staff members and what the potentials are for everyone, because we're not all the same. I think is actually, a good start for the leadership roles to identify. As Boz said earlier, he likes to have people sitting next to him and when he's reporting. And I think it's nice. It's great, especially the feeling, they're learning something and they seeing you as a role model. So us as mentors, we need to act as mentors, and we need to receive the training as well. So I felt as well. Sorry, that's a bracket on your question, and we can come back. But that's also a thing that leadership roles, people taking leadership roles without the appropriate training, and that's how we are drifting and we are leaving gaps in the department because we never thought about it. You were a senior radiographer and you became a lead radiographer. Okay, now you're an admin, you're a manager. Okay, what are your tools? How you became a manager. So I think further education there on the leadership roles, and then these leadership roles actually mentoring others, become a role model as we should be. We're just very senior radiographers. That's fine, you know.
Yeah,
Let's get out of our cell and just show our present. Because when you show your present, as Bo said, that person never worked with him, but only on the idea that they knew that person will go out and help them. That's what is motivate them to work. So that's exactly what we need. Yeah, we need the motivation. We need to motivate our department. We need to grab them and unleash their powers in our department. We will have benefit, okay, but the patients will have benefit, but the most of it, the staff members will have a benefit. And
yeah.
that's what we need to chase. We need to chase that because some radiographers, they feel unsupported. And that's apparent. It happens everywhere. But if we change that, our profession will shine.
Yeah, definitely. My other, if you like, passion is trying, what can keep people happy and interested in their profession um, by doing other things in their life. Now, I'm sure radiographers get up and all they want to do is take X-rays and do MRI scans. I'm sure. But, but I was just going to say that. Yeah, do you have what motivates you outside of work? What keeps you, what keeps you going, sort of to motivate you to get up outside of just radiography?
So, as I said earlier, I'm doing photography. So that what is motivating me going out most. And taking my dogs out. So I'm a dog lover. Me and my miss, we have two amazing dogs. So we are all the time, very involved with them. Of course, we need to have a good work-life balance, isn't it? So I know it's difficult, especially when you're driving through a leadership role. Is difficult to actually, get some time off from your head at least, not directly on a front of computer or your phone or something. But mentally, you need to go out of it. So I made sure that when I leaving work, I'm leaving work. So my doors are closing. Of course, if something urgent, I will reply, but that's my door. My door is closed. I'm not gonna deal with it until next morning. I'm going to work. So I try to separate that, and I'm trying to take often, like go out with my missus, go out with friends, go to Greece, or take some time off, because time off is crucial. Overburn is something that we don't feel it, and it's gonna come up, hard. I'm doing therapy myself in the last 13 years just for my well-being, and I have learned to recognize that, and that's actually seeing myself when I'm reaching my point of overburn. I need to take a break, and no matter what's happened, without you, still things can run. They might run a bit bended, but they're gonna run. So just take your time off, take your break, recharge your batteries, come back. Um, you know, I think that's how you can maintain yourself, let's say, outside of this radiography world.
Wow. I mean,
I think that's
controversial.
something that's quite a hard subject
Yeah,
in this country especially.
yeah,
I think the whole stiff upper lip British keep calm and carry on thing has its place. However, as you said, you've incorporated therapy into your life. So depending on who's listening to that is who will depend on whose eyebrows are raised. American audience, normal. Everyone has a counselor, a therapist. That's just
Yeah.
incorporated. It's American way of life. That's normal.
Hmm.
I imagine in some other countries as well. Whereas in England, there's still a stigma. Like that word makes people back off. And I think therapy is not, necessarily sitting on a couch talking to a doctor. Therapy is doing photography, going out for a walk with your dogs,
Hmm.
it, going for a bike ride. Therapy needs the framing of that word. It might be sat down talking to a doctor. But it's whatever works for you to keep you in
Exactly,
the
to
right
keep you going.
headspace.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly what it says. It's how you keep going. It's about therapy, as you said. You might sit on a couch and you might have a doctor, or you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah,
So basically, therapy is everything that is actually giving you more pleasure, except your job. Either way, you're a workaholic. So,
yeah,
um, so I'm not saying your work is not giving you pleasure, but it's different pleasure. It's a work-life pleasure. So yeah, in therapy you're doing it just to make sure you are handling your feelings correct, or you're handling yourself together. Uh, Obviously, you don't have only your work, so other stuff in your life, happens and can change your emotion, how you're feeling. So all of that can add up on the puzzle of not doing your job properly, or
yeah.
not acting as a husband properly. So all of that, it's just anything that can make you better or feeling better, and you can follow it. And you can name it as you said, anything. You can name it therapy, you can name it photography, you can name it swimming or whatever you want to do. It's just how you can handle yourself together.
It's not an uncommon dynamic to hear, Alex, that you're married to another radiographer. The first thing I was going to
Yes.
say, yeah, we'll hear that quite often. There are a couple of things just to say. I mean, you're both absolutely right, Boz. That point you make is the reason why I like to ask guests, and I want to, to ask Alex what he does outside, and you quickly realise, there's, the passion for the things that you do outside of work as well. I do think the younger generation are better than us oldies. I speak for myself then at doing this. I think that
yeah.
and well done then for recognising what's their free time and what's their not. I would also add, and it's relatively controversial, but I want to say it as because I think it's important is the leadership need to be able to guide those that aren't doing it so well as well. So actually turning a blind eye to someone um, refusing holiday, it's no longer a badge to say I only took 5 days holiday this year or 10 days holiday. And I used to hear far too much of, I'm unable to take my holiday because I've lost that slot to be able to do it and there's not enough time. I do think it's the leadership's responsibility to talk to their staff to make sure they are taking their time off. Not to say take up tennis or take up swimming or something like that, actually to just make sure that they take that time off or whatever it is they need to do to recharge their batteries.
Leadership is definitely, is you need to embrace that. As we said, it's your staff members, so you need to see it as your wheels for your car, isn't it? So you need to maintain them. You need to make sure they don't have dust. they're wearing a new tires. They're ready to go. So you provide them the tools, with extra training, with extra support of whatever they want, but also, as you said, annual leave, and give them some time off is essential. So, we have already established some different patterns of people having annual leave, so that's going to help them and motivate them, hopefully, to get their annual leave. I've got people booking their annual leave in 2 years in advance now. So, so it's nice to see, people like planning their life, of going holidays and take some time off.
We've recently changed the slots that you can book, and it's made a massive difference to people that they can know that I've got that holiday in 2 years' time,
Yeah,
but I've got it, rather than waiting till 6 months before and worrying if they're going to get that time or not.
ex
It's definitely made a difference.
exactly. And
Oh,
that's the small details that is actually, giving the next step of these people trusting you, of that you can, support them more. And they will definitely, give you more. Definitely. It's like inevitable.
I mean, I get it as well. I mean, it's not easy when you're maybe already short-staffed, or there's something, you're almost at skeleton staff already, and then someone wants to you know give some annual leave out, or take some time off. I get it. It's not easy. Yeah, in fact, I would argue that the radiology manager's position is one of the toughest leadership roles in all of the NHS, because of the way in which the referrals all come in. The epicenter of a hospital is almost always the radiology department. So it's one of the most challenging roles to be a leader. But it's almost that responsibility that you both take on your shoulders when you go into that leadership role, to be able to have the tools, and by the same token, and this is a really important point, to understand that you're always on a learning curve. There may be other people that expect you to know it, but don't allow that to be that reason for you to kind of stop your education, whether that be
Yeah.
in a leadership, or as you're describing, clinically.
Yeah.
I,
Thank
I know
goodness
it's
I'm
not
not the
easy.
rota team.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you're doing I'm sure you are an amazing manager, Buzz. And Alex, just to sort of, from our perspective, just to wrap up from my side, and Buzz, if you've got any questions for Alex as well, what I was going to ask is that, what do you see sort of from a future perspective for you, for the profession? Any particular things you're interested in, sort of professionally, that you'd like to take forward, that you want to tell the listeners?
So, first of all, I will say that if you're a radiographer, and you listen, and you're somewhere in the world, there's always a possibility for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And that's basically my advice. If I could do it, everyone can do it. Trust me. And without waiting these 18 months. But apart that, I would say that, as I said, I want to keep developing. I'm doing my reporting course now. After that, hopefully, I will involve a bit more with AI. So I've been leading some groups. Hopefully with AI going forward. Again, it's part with IT, so I've got some foundations on it. So I'm watching towards it. Definitely, maybe in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, if we are well, I might go back to Greece, just reporting with teleradiology companies or something else. But definitely there are options, and there are options that you can develop yourself of what you want to do. And that's why I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed because I've got the options. Everything can be done very easily. So it's just about education and, the right people of the right pathways, and you can do it. It's just
Definitely. And
Yeah, I think that that's really good. It's nice to see people pushing boundaries of roles, and seeing that it's not, you don't have to fill the job that was vacated by the last person. You can make it your own, and you embody that change. You are the change, and if you
hmm
want to change, push it yourself. there's no shame in that. Don't leave it to other people. Um, when what's your one piece of advice to someone doing that? If the basic thing, how I want to change a service in a way, I've got a great idea. What's that? What that one thing I need to not forget when presenting it to senior management or even staff going the
Yeah,
other way. We're doing something different.
yeah. Bring it down, break it down, and make sure you have the right justification. Make sure you eliminate any loose end. Like you have a plan, you want to do something, but how you will do it? What are your resources? What's the budget behind it? If it's any budget on it, if it's just staff members or procedure or something, make sure don't see only the benefit. Oh, I can see 20 patients. See how much overload you're gonna see. So you're gonna throw to your staff members. How many people you will occupy, how much stress it's gonna actually give them. Because I agree, yeah, we have massive backlogs, in different modalities. But throwing 50 or 40, examinations on top of what they had already with the same amount of staff, that's definitely don't help, isn't it? It's you're gonna overburn your staff members. They're gonna fed up very easily. That's the number one red flag that you don't want to do it. If you're going to do it, just put your business case down. Make sure you got everything right justification, and just go for it. Just try it. Have it out of people vote for it. Especially when it's staff members. We are living in a democracy, thank God. Uh, and we all have voice. And at the end of the day, it's like I was going to buy some equipment, and I asked only my staff members. I didn't have any opinion on that because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna use it. They're gonna use it. So let them decide what they want to do. You know, it's their tools. If you feel that it's fine, yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
No, that's
perfect.
a very, very good point, I think. It's been
Yeah.
it's been great talking to you.
Thank you, Ross.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. It's great.
That's the point.
Don't take any of my staff.
Oh yeah. What exactly is it?
Nowhere, nowhere.
I
I'll even
think
out to Mongolia.
I think it's clear for me, Alex, we could do this again, and we could do this down the line. We could do the what I call the Roadworks M1 on a Friday afternoon version as well, because we could have loads to talk about. I'm also very grateful for your support of the platform. The skilled personnel radiographer networking platform as well. We launched it in June, but I think the way that that's now developing, and the direction it's taking, and all of the things we're learning from guests like yourself, and from the amazing expertise of Boz as well, is fantastic. So, for everyone listening, please listen in. And if you've got any questions for Alex and for Boz or for myself, we're on the platform. And yeah, thank you so much, Alex. This has been amazing. And yeah,
Thank you very much.
we'll see you
Thank you
again
very
soon.
much. It was a pleasure, Pose and Fode. Yeah, thank you everyone.